Hello friends, welcome to class of transportation engineering. In this lecture we will continue with the same topic, that is traffic engineering, and before we will be mainly taking up numericals in this lecture based on traffic engineering. And before going ahead, I'll discuss where are we in our syllabus. So we have completed this introduction to highways, we have completed highway geometry design. We also took a recap session on highway geometry design to quickly go through all the formulae that we studied in highway geometry design. Okay, the currently we are studying the traffic engineering. We are left with numericals and small portion on traffic engineering. Numericals that we are supposed to cover on the signal design. Okay, we will be covering that in this lecture. Afterwards, we will quickly do the highway materials and testing. The pavement design will be part of it, and airports and railways are the small topics. So let's move ahead with the numerical question. Okay, the first numerical question on the signal design. So the first question is that for designing a two-phase fixed type signal at an intersection, so please write down that two-phase n equal to 2 at an intersection having north south and east west roads, where so it is like this: north south and east west road. Okay, so east west road where only straight traffic is permitted. Okay, only straight traffic is permitted, so like this and like this. Okay, so the following data is available for that, and the time lost per cycle is 12 seconds. So here L value is directly given to be 12 seconds. Okay, 12 seconds. The cycle length in seconds as per Webster's formula, Webster's approach is. So I guess it is a very straightforward question. So we know that formula for cycle time, okay, is C naught equal to 1.5 L plus 5 upon 1 minus Y. So L is directly given to us, and that is 12 seconds, and we are now left with computation for Y. Y is given as Y1 plus Y2 plus, okay, so in this case there will be only Y1 and Y2 since it is a two-phase fixed type signal. Y1 will be Q1 by S1 and Y2 will be Q2 by S2, where now from this given table you have to find out the values of Q1 and S1 and Q2 S2. Okay, so Q1 is, as you know, that it is the normal traffic flow. It is normal traffic flow, and S1 is the saturated traffic flow. I'll write it for you. Okay, the normal traffic flow and saturated traffic flow. So here, see, it is given the normal traffic flow, that is the design hour flow, that is in PCU per hour, and the saturation flow has been given. So here the Q1 value will be, at a time we are allowing for straight traffic. It is of this kind. Okay, this kind. So there will be road intersection like this. Okay, and traffic from north side. Okay, like this, and towards north it is 1000. Okay, PCU per hour, and towards south it is 700 PCU per hour. Okay, so in this case in one phase we are allowing for 1000 in this direction, 1000 PCUs per hour in this direction, and 700 PCUs in this direction as per the question. Okay, now thing is that while designing the green time we should design for the critical value, that is 1000 PCUs per hour, because we want to clear 1000 PCUs in this particular phase. Okay, so since 1000 is critical compared to 700 PCUs per hour, we should in design consider the 1000 PCUs per hour. Okay, so in this case Q1 will be equal to 1000 and S1 will be equal to 2500. So what you get, Y1 equal to 1000 upon S1 is 2500. Okay, and similarly Y2 is critical in this case is 900. So 900 divided by saturation traffic flow, that is 3000. Okay, so as a whole y is equal to y1 plus y2, which is equal to, please calculate and tell me, that is equal to 0.7. So the job is very simple now. You now have the y value, you have the L value, you have to just simply substitute and find what the answer is. So 1.5 into 12 plus 5 upon 1 minus 0.7, which is equal to 77 seconds, is the cycle time. Okay, and that is exactly what is asked in the question. The cycle length in seconds as per Webster's approach is. So it was a very straightforward question. Thing is that you need to understand for what traffic flow we should design. Okay, that is the critical traffic flow. I would want to continue with the same question and find the green times. Okay, so we will continue with the same question, and for your benefit I'll write down things properly. So here y equal to y east west, sorry, yes, y east west plus y north south, and which will be q east west upon s east west plus q north south upon s north south, which will be equal to 0.3 plus 0.4. I have already discussed how to calculate. Okay, equal to 0.7. So from here we found out this cycle time, that is 1.5 into 12 plus 5 upon 1 minus 0.7, that is equal to 77 seconds. Okay, so that comes out to be somewhere 76.66 seconds. So I am saying the 77 seconds. So from this we will find out the green time for east-west traffic flow, which will be equal to y east-west upon the y upon into cycle time c naught minus the lost time. Okay, that will be equal to 0.3 upon 0.7. Cycle time is now 76.66 minus the lost time is 12. That will be equal to, please calculate and tell me, 0.3 upon 0.7 into 76.66 minus 12. So that comes out to be 27.71. 27.71, approximately 28. Okay, 28 seconds. Similarly, for north south green time, y north south upon y c naught minus L, which will be equal to 0.4 upon 0.7, 76.66 minus 12 equal to 37.4 seconds. Okay, so that is 37 approximately, and you just add it, like take a check that green east west plus green north south plus the lost time, which will be equal to 28 plus 37 plus 12, that is equal to 77 seconds. Okay, so this is the check. So now you understood how to find out the green time, as well as you understood how to take the check. Okay, here it is 12. So yes, we will move on to discuss the next question. Yes, in a signal design as per IRC specifications, if the sum of the ratios of normal flows to the saturation flow of two directional traffic flow is 0.50 and total lost time per cycle is 10 seconds, the optimum cycle length in seconds is. So I guess it is a very straightforward question. It is given that y equal to 0.5, L equal to 10 seconds, and they are asking C not equal to what? So C not equal to, you should remember this formula very well. Okay guys, 1.5 L plus 5 1 minus y, which is equal to 1.5 into 10 plus 5 C naught 1 minus 0.5, therefore this C naught value is 40 seconds. 40 seconds. And this was a previous GATE question asked in GATE 2007. Very important. You should remember it very well. So that was C. They are just checking whether you know this Webster's formula or not. Okay. So we will now move ahead to discuss the effective green time, and that is the displayed green time. Displayed green time. Effective green time is given as actual green plus amber minus the lost time. So actual green plus amber minus lost green. Okay. Actual green plus amber minus the lost green time. So amber is not calculated separately. Okay. Amber is not calculated separately. It is part of the green time itself, and it is kept as since it is kept as part of green time, these two are taken together. Okay. And it is usually adjusted with the green time, I will say. Sorry, it should be lost time. Okay. Lost time, I have written lost green. So lost time is of two types. First one is startup lost time. Startup lost time. And the second one is clearance lost time. Clearance lost time. Okay. So we have discussed what both of these two mean. Okay. So we will move on to next concept, that is the lane capacity. The lane capacity, which is given as Q max. Capacity means it is a maximum volume. So Q max is equal to SI C naught into GI. Okay. So where I is the ith lane. The formula is for ith lane. So I'll write for ith lane. Okay. So where, please write down, SI is equal to saturation flow on ith lane. Saturation flow on ith lane, that is known to you. GI is effective green time on ith lane. GI is effective green time on ith lane. And next one is C naught, that is the cycle time, total cycle time by Webster's formula. Total cycle time by Webster's formula. Okay, by Webster's formula. So you see guys, whenever it is complete green, okay, for entire green time, uh, GI will be equal to C naught. So you just put GI equal to C naught here, it will get cancelled, and you will get Q max equal to SI, that is the saturation flow in the ith lane that we had discussed while discussing what is the saturation flow. I'll repeat what I am saying. Okay, what I said just now, that Q max is given by this formula, and if it is entire green, for entire green, GI equal to C naught. Just put it in this formula, GI equal to C naught, it will get cancelled, and you find that the SI, that is the saturation flow on the ith lane, and that is exactly what definition of saturation flow we have studied. Okay guys, so we will take up an example on this. So it is given that cycle time is 90 seconds. The saturation flow on the lane is 3000 PCU per hour, and green time for that ith lane is 40 seconds. Okay, so they are asking to find out what is the Q max for the ith lane. So the question asked is Q max, the maximum capacity for the ith lane. Okay, so the answer is very straightforward. Q max equal to 3000 into 40 upon 90, that is equal to 1333 PCU per hour. 1333 PCU per hour. That was a very simple and a straightforward question. So we will now discuss the green time for pedestrian crossing. Okay, we will discuss green time for pedestrian crossing. Okay, yes. So if there is road like this, okay, there will be white strips, okay, like this. That is called the zebra crossing. Okay, and pedestrians are supposed to cross the road across the zebra itself, and if not crossed along the zebra, then if anything happens, if any accident happens, no insurance will be given. Okay, so the green time for pedestrian crossing given by G suffix PS, G suffix PS. Okay, I'll write down the formula on the next slide. That is GPS equal to TS plus W upon UP. We will discuss each of the terms very carefully in details, where TS is the startup lost time, startup lost time, or the reaction time for pedestrian, reaction time for pedestrian. Okay, it is reaction time for pedestrian, and it is given as 4.7 seconds as per IRC. You know, people look here and there and they waste time in that. Like they first check whether vehicle is coming or not, and then they move ahead. So that is the startup lost time, and that is given as 4.7 seconds by IRC. And UP, small u suffix p, is the speed of pedestrian. Okay, speed of pedestrian, and that is equal to 1.2 meters per second as per again IRC. Okay, which is equal to, which is taken as 15% of design speed. It is taken as 15% of the design speed. So guys, now you have this formula, and if asked a question, you can directly answer it. Okay, and W, you know, it is width of the road. UP I have discussed. This TS, the startup lost time, I have discussed. You will put the value of startup lost time. UP, the speed of pedestrian, you know, and you know the W, the width of the road. So you now know what is the green time for pedestrian crossing. Okay, okay guys, we will now move on to the next concept, that is the Webster's delay. Okay, so when you provide signals on road, what happens is that the travel time of vehicle increases. So that is what the delay is. So please write down that due to signal, what is Webster's delay? It is due to signal, the travel time of vehicle increases. The travel time of a vehicle increases. Okay, so the uniform delay for vehicles, the uniform delay for vehicles on ith lane is given by the uniform delay for vehicles on ith lane is given by this is delay on ith lane, and the formula is C naught by 2 1 minus Gi for ith lane upon C naught upon 1 minus Qi upon Si. Okay, so all symbols have got the usual meaning, and you are all aware of it. Still I'll tell you, this Gi upon C naught, as you know, or yes, it is called as the green ratio. Gi upon C naught is the green ratio. Okay. Qi is the normal flow on ith length. Qi is the normal flow on ith length. Normal flow on ith length. Si is saturated flow on ith length. Saturated flow on ith length. Okay. So this is just a simple formula, and we will go ahead with solving numericals based on the Webster's delay. Okay. And a very important thing that I have missed out is square. Okay. Square. So it is square of this complete term. So the question based on this is, an intersection approach has an approach flow rate of 1000 vehicles per hour. So Qi is 1000 vehicles per hour, and saturation flow rate Si is equal to 2800 vehicles per hour. Okay. And a cycle time, a cycle length of 90 seconds, cycle length of 90 seconds, and effective green ratio, oh, it should be effective green ratio for the approach is equal to 0.55. So Gi upon C naught is equal to 0.55. What average delay per vehicle is expected under this condition? So what average delay per vehicle? So this is average delay per vehicle. Okay. So it is a straightforward question. Di is given as C naught by 2 1 minus the green ratio Gi upon C naught, and 1 minus Qi upon Si, which will be equal to, just substitute the values, 90 by 2, 1 minus 0.55 square, 1 minus 1000 by 2800, which is equal to 14.175 seconds is the average delay per vehicle in this given condition. The next question is asked is also, what is the critical capacity of the length? So question number 2, we have critical capacity Q max is given by formula SI into Gi upon C naught. So Si over here is 2800, and Gi upon C naught, it is directly given over here as the green ratio. Okay, green ratio is 0.55, so that the critical capacity of ith length is 1540 vehicles per hour. Okay, 1540 vehicles per hour. So we will move on to next question. If you understood this, we will move on to next question. Okay. Yes, the cycle time of an intersection is 60 seconds. So I'll write down the data. Cycle time is 60 seconds. The green time for phase is 27 seconds. So green time for that phase is 27 seconds, and corresponding yellow time is 4 seconds. Okay. So I'll write it over here in front of this green itself. Okay, since it is corresponding yellow time. Okay. The saturation headway is 2.4 seconds per vehicle. So saturation headway is 2.4 seconds per vehicle. Per vehicle, and the startup loss time is 2 seconds per phase. So I'll write the loss time is equal to 2 seconds per phase, and additional information is given that the clearance loss time is 1 second per phase. So total loss time is 3 seconds. Okay, per phase. What is the capacity of movement per lane in vehicles per hour? So they are asking what is the capacity of movement per lane in vehicles per hour. So we have formula Q max for ith lane is given as SI into GI upon C naught, where GI is equal to effective green time, okay, which is equal to, in this case, green time is 27 seconds plus 4 is the amber time, the yellow time, that is the amber time. Here I have written 4 seconds is the amber time, and minus the lost time is total lost time is 3 seconds per phase. So the effective green time is 28 seconds. Okay, 28 seconds. So we can just substitute the values over here, but we know green time, we know the C naught, that is the cycle time of an intersection, that is equal to 60. Okay, that is equal to 60, but we need to find out what is the saturation traffic flow. Okay, saturation flow we need to find out. What we know is saturation headway. Okay, saturation headway is 2.4 seconds per vehicle. Okay, so you know this is saturation headway is in seconds per vehicle, and what information what we are interested in is saturation number of vehicles per second. So we will exactly take a reciprocal of this, so which will be 2.4 vehicles per second, 1 upon 2.4 vehicles per second, and if you just multiply it by 3600, then what you will get is saturation number of vehicles per hour, that is equal to 1500 vehicles per hour. Okay, 1500 vehicles per. So that is the saturation flow value, and now the job is very simple. What all you have to do is substitute the values in this formula. Okay, so I'll write over here that SI is 1500 vehicles per hour, GI is 28 seconds, and C naught is 60, which gives answer equal to, here I am writing 700 vehicles per hour. Okay, so that is what is the capacity of movement per lane in vehicle per hour. The capacity of movement per lane in vehicle per hour is 700 vehicles per hour. Okay, so we will discuss next question now. Yes, so it is a previous gate question. Okay, it is a previous gate question. On a section of highway, the speed and density relationship is given by is linear. Oh, it is linear. So you should think about the model that we have discussed. Okay, the Greenshields model, as far as soon as you read this, the linear relationship, the speed and density relationship is linear and is given by this. Okay, V equal to 80 minus 0.75 k. Let us see whether we are supposed to use this, the Greenshields model, and where V is in kilometer per hour and K is in vehicle per hour, the capacity of the section of highway vehicle per hour. That is simple. So it is given that the relationship is 80 minus 0.75 k. Okay, so as per the, so you know that as k tends to 0, V will be equal to Vmax. V will be equal to Vmax, and so in this case Vmax equal to 80 minus, put k equal to 0, that is equal to Vmax is 80 kilometers per hour, and at V equal to 0, k equal to Kmax. So the Kmax value that you get is, put V equal to 0, 80 minus 0.75 k, 0.75 Kmax now, and the Kmax value that you will get is 106.67 vehicles per kilometer. Okay, so why we found out Vmax and Kmax? The reason is that as per linear speed density relationship, we know that Qmax equal to Kmax by 2 into Vmax by 2. Okay, k max by 2 into v max by 2, and that is equal to 80 by 2 into 106.67 by 2, which is equal to 2133 vehicles per hour. Okay, vehicles per hour. So such kind of questions are usually asked for GATE, and there will be also few questions uh, that are really the bouncer ones. And what I'll suggest, that since all the questions have got equal weightage, like suppose it is a 2 marks question, then whether it is a simple question, a direct formula based question, or a complicated or a very tricky question, okay, uh, each of them is going to have 2 marks. So what I'll suggest is that first attempt all the questions that you are sure of, okay, and obtain as many marks as possible from the questions that are easy. And there will be few questions that like even if you read it so many times, not only you, but the people who are legends in this subject, then also they cannot understand they cannot solve such kind of questions. So in GATE examination, you have to first make a choice that which question you have to attempt and which question you have to skip. Okay, if you learn this, then it will be very easy for you to score good marks in GATE exam. Okay, so choose the appropriate question that you can solve. Okay guys, so we will now discuss the origin destination studies. Okay, origin destination studies, it is important from GATE point of view. Okay, and the desire lines in this. Okay, the desire lines, so these studies show the amount of travel existing between the origin and the destination, that is the 2 points, the 2 destinations. So please write down that these studies show the amount of travel, show the amount of travel existing between certain destinations. Okay, between certain destinations. So it is done in order to like plan the routes, also to make improvements on the uh, existing routes. So secondly, it is for the making improvements on the existing routes. Okay, to determine the one-way streets, determine the one-way streets, determine one-way streets. Okay, to determine the required future expansion. So these are all the reasons why origin and destination studies are done. And in these studies, what we find is the amount of travel existing between the certain destinations. Okay, and how it is done, how it is presented, the origin and the destination studies is through presentation of the origin and destination data, that is done using the desire lines or the origin and destination tables. Okay, so presentation of origin destination studies data is done through desire done through desire lines. I have written design lines, sorry, desire lines. Okay, desire lines and the origin and destination tables. So we will discuss what are desire lines. So it is a straight line joining origin and destination. Please write down a straight line joining origin and destination whose thickness gives importance of road, whose thickness gives importance of road. Okay, importance of road. So the thickness of OD line is put as number of vehicles on the road. Okay, so the thickness is put as per number of vehicles on road. So you know how it will look like is the desired lines. Suppose this is a road and from H to L, and there are two locations, destinations A and B. So in this case, if suppose there are 100 vehicles per hour here, between these there are 20 vehicles per hour, and here there are 800 vehicles per hour. Okay, so the desired lines will be given as desired lines will be given as from H to A, it will be like this. Okay, desired line will be of this kind, and it will be 100 over here. H to A, from A to B it will be simply like this, that is 20 vehicles per hour, and from B to L it will be still more thicker, representing 1800 vehicles per hour. Okay, so these are the desired lines like this. So 8 800 vehicles per hour, I said 1800 vehicles per hour. Okay, so this was what the desired lines for representation of origin and destination studies data. So in this way guys, we have completed traffic engineering. We have completed all kinds of uh, numericals that are possible. We have completed all topics from the traffic engineering, and now we will move on to highway materials and testing. Okay, so let's start with the next chapter, that is highway materials. Okay, so the next topic is highway materials and testing. And if you have ever seen the highway cross section, okay, so it will look like this. The layers, the material layers, if you have seen, it will be of this kind. So this is the ground level. Okay, so the first layer will be wearing course, then there will be base course, there will be sub base, and the last one will be the subgrade. Okay, please, yeah, it is like this, the layers I have to draw. So wearing course, there will be base below it, this one is sub base. Okay, and here it is subgrade. Okay, the last one is the subgrade. Okay, so subgrade is the natural foundation. Okay, subgrade acts as a natural foundation. It is a natural foundation, or it is a field that directly receives load from pavement. Okay, or it is a field that directly receives loads from foundation. Loads from foundation. Okay guys, sorry, loads from the pavement. So the traffic loads actually, basically. So this one is the ground level, and here will be traffic moving, okay, in some direction like this. So there will be traffic traveling. Okay, so the load is directly received by the subgrade, like it is transferred to subgrade, and subgrade is something that acts like a natural foundation to this load. Okay guys, so to determine the properties of subgrade, there are two important tests. First one is CBR, that is the California bearing ratio. California bearing ratio. Okay, and next property is modulus of subgrade reaction. Okay, modulus of subgrade reaction, greater is the value of CBr, greater is the strength. Okay, greater is the strength of the subgrade. Okay, so CBr is basically a strength parameter of soil, a strength parameter, a strength parameter of soil. Okay, CBr is a strength parameter of soil, and modulus of subgrade reaction K, higher the K value, stiffer is the soil. Okay, stiffer is the soil, that means less is the settlement. Okay, less is the settlement, and settlement is just like deflection. So deflection in soils is called as settlement. Deflection in soils is called as settlement. Okay, so it is expressed as K equal to P by deflection delta. Okay, so therefore we need the stiffness or the settlement parameter. Okay, so it can be called as stiffness in some sense. So modulus of subgrade reaction, that is P by delta, and CBr, the California bearing ratio. We will be discussing both of these into details. Okay, so first one is the CBr test. We will discuss how to determine CBr or the CBr test, and it is a lab test. Okay guys, it is a lab test, and this test is conducted using disturbed sample. Okay, it is conducted using disturbed sample. Okay guys, so in this test there will be apparatus like this. Okay, and loading mechanism is like this. Okay, loading mechanism. So load is applied over here, load P is applied over here, and here is the strain measurement. Okay, strain measurement is done through here, through this is strain measurement. Okay guys, strain measurement, and strain is measured, since it is an independent quantity, strain is measured in this direction. This is 2.5 kg counterweight, and here there will be the sample. Okay, the disturbed sample will be over here, and this counterweight is provided just to avoid the upheaving of soil, just to avoid upheaving of soil. Okay guys, upheaving of soil. So from this what we obtain is curve like this. Okay, on x-axis there will be delta, that is the settlement, and on y-axis there will be P, the load applied. Okay, here. So what we obtain is we get a curve like this. Okay, which is curvilinear. Okay, curvilinear. Okay, and the values that we are interested in at deflection of 2.5 mm and at settlement of 5 mm. Okay, and the corresponding load to 2.5 mm is called P suffix 2.5, and here will be P suffix 5. Okay guys, so based on the crushing strength of the aggregates that were locally available near the California University, we have standard values of P. Okay, so let's write down the standard values of P. Okay, so it is based on the crust aggregate, based on the crust aggregates that were locally available near the California University for test. Okay, California University for test. So the standard P2.5 value is 1370 kg and P suffix 5 value is 2055 kg. Okay, these are the standard values of P. So CBR is given as, suppose CBR 2.5 is given as P2.5 upon this standard P2.5 into 100. Okay, and this will be CBR 2.5 and CBR 5 will be given as P5 upon standard P5 into 100. Okay, so from this you can see that the standard P2.5, these values we have to substitute over here, and what we will be getting is the relative values compared to the standard P values that are based on the crust aggregates. Okay, that we just defined. Okay, so CBR is a specific or relative strength. So please write down that CBR is a relative strength compared to strength of crust aggregates. So CBR is a relative strength compared to strength of crust aggregates. Okay, strength of crust aggregates, and in general CBR of 2.5 will be the higher value. In general, you please write down near University of California. Okay, near University of California for test it were available. Okay, in general CBR of 2.5 will be CBI of 2.5 will be the higher value. And if it is the case, then CBR of soil will be equal to CBR 2.5. Okay, and if CBR 5 is higher, then we will have to repeat the experiment. Okay, and please write down, if CBR 5 is higher, then repeat the experiment, and once you repeat the experiment, consider CBR of soil whichever will be the higher of the two values. So after repetition, CBR soil will be equal to greater of CBR 2.5 and CBR 5. Okay, after the repetition of the test. Okay, so here if you're testing any sample, okay, the disturbed sample, then you will obtain a curve like this. You will obtain two values of loads corresponding to settlements, that is equal to 2.5 mm and 5 mm. Out of this, 2.5 mm will be P at 2.5 will be having higher value. Okay, and if that is the case, that you should regard as the CBR of soil. Okay, and if the CBR value, if P5 is greater than 2.5, P2.5, then what you need to do is repeat the experiment, and from the repeated experiment, whichever comes the greater value, that you have to consider as the CBR of soil. Okay, so we will just take up an example to find out CBR of soil. Okay, we will find out CBR of soil. So a question is given that there is a table given where load is given in kg, that is 60.5 and 80.5, and penetration is given in mm, and that is equal to 2.5 and 5.0. Okay, assuming that load penetration curve is convex throughout, CBR value in percentages of the sample is, assuming the load penetration curve to be convex throughout, CBR value of the soil sample is CBR equal to what in percentages. Okay, so this is the question. So it is a very straightforward question. So CBR 2.5 will be equal to 60.5 upon 1370, which is equal to 1370 into 100, which is equal to 4.4%, and CBR suffix 5 equal to 80.5 upon 2055 into 100, which will be equal to 3.9%. So CBR of soil, okay, CBR of soil will be equal to CBR 2.5, that is equal to 4.4%. Since this is the greater value, CBR 2.5 is the greater value, so CBR soil is 4.4%. okay, so now we will move on to the next test, that is the test to determine the K value, that is modulus of subgrade reaction, and the E value, that is modulus of elasticity of soil, okay, and the test for this is a popular test named plate load test. Okay, plate load test, also called plate bearing test. Okay, so this test is the test, that is, this is a field test. Very first thing is that it is a field test. Okay, and secondly, it is to determine K value and the E value that we have already discussed, and we will be discussing it in still more details. And the test is of this kind, that we take up it like this. Okay, so this is the ground level, and at subgrade it is. Okay, so there will be plate like this, the dial gauge, and some load will be applied like this. So it is a subgrade. Okay guys, it is subgrade over here, and so there will be some pressure like this. So standard diameter of this plate is, standard dia of plate is equal to 75 centimeters, that is 2.5 feet. Okay, and the commonly used dia is equal to 30 centimeter, that is equal to 1 feet. Okay, 1 feet. So this pressure P is given as load on the plate divided by plan area of plate. Okay, it is given by load on plate divided by plan area of plate. Please write it down. I am not able to write down for some reason. It is given as load on plate divided by plan area of plate. Yes, load on plate upon plan area of plate. Okay guys, yes, so this is the P, and in this test also similar to I was supposed to write it over here. P is given as load on plate upon plan area of plate. Okay, and in this also we will get similar curve like this. Okay, so the curve that we are going to obtain, on y-axis there will be p value, on x there will be delta, so it will be like this. And here also we will be looking for 1.25 mm settlement, and the corresponding p value will be 1.25, or the second option is that we will look for p equal to 0.27 kg per centimeter square. I said 0.27, that will be 0.7 kg per centimeter square. Okay, and corresponding settlement is d 0.7 kg per centimeter square. So in this case you have got two options. Either you have to look for load that is equal to 0.7 kg per centimeter square, or you have to look for settlement that is equal to 1.25 mm. Okay, so the modulus of subgrade reaction, therefore from this, modulus of subgrade reaction will be given as P by delta. Okay, P by delta, but in this, that is K equal to P by delta, please put a box to it. But in this, the problem is which value to consider, P 1.25 or P 0.7, or deflection 1.25 or deflection 0.7. So that is the question. So you can use any of the following. Okay, so the method one is fix delta equal to 1.25 and find K equal to P by delta, that is P 1.25 by delta. Okay, P 1.25 by delta. Either you can find out this, that is, in this method what you do is fix delta equal to 1.25, and in method 2 what you can do is fix P equal to 0.7 kg per centimeter square, and that is the reason K value that you obtain is P by delta, that is equal to 0.7 kg per centimeter square upon delta 0.7. Okay, so as far as unit is concerned, K is given as P by delta, unit of P is Newton per centimeter square, and delta is again centimeter, so the unit is Newton per centimeter cube. Okay, this is the unit for K. And among the two methods, please write down that among the two methods, IRC recommends to fix the independent parameters, that is use delta equal to 1.25 mm. Okay, so among the two parameters, fix the independent parameter, that is fix delta equal to 1.25 mm. So for now we will stop here, and in the next chapter, in the next lecture, we will discuss modulus of elasticity E and how to find it out. Okay guys, so thank you so much. See you in the next lecture.